Hot take. Action movies mostly suck. The acting sucks, and you really only watch them for the explosions and the drama. Let's be honest. My name's Edwin Porras, owner, founder, pro athlete, physical therapy, former Minnesota Twins physical therapist, and owner of two rabbits. I'm going to use that one again. I'm pretty sure that I'll be the only Spanish-speaking, rabbit-owning physical therapist with former professional baseball experience in the area that you'll ever meet. I want you to think about this quote, though. Speaking of action movies, you think darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. And by the time that I was a man, it was nothing but blinding, or something like that. I forgot the exact quote that he said at the end, but that's a quote from Bane, directly from Bane in The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises. I'm going to talk to you about what that means for you as a baseball player, honestly, as a high school athlete, right? So I'll tell you exactly why recruiting and exposure aren't exactly the way that you think about it and what to do instead. And I want to talk to you about how Arch Manning and the Manning family can actually be, believe it or not, a good example or a good case study of how you should approach your training and your recruiting, especially as a high school athlete. Keep that in your back pocket. So I don't know how many of you know how the Arch Manning recruitment process went. Essentially, Arch Manning's parents came to their high school coach, who they knew personally, to be fair, and they said, we want this to be a 1970s style recruitment. We're not going to take offers when he's 13. We're not going to take offers when he's 14. We're going to pretend that this is 1970s. Social media doesn't exist to him because he's not allowed to be on social media. He's going to be a kid. He's going to come to practice. He's going to do what you ask him, and you're going to handle this entire recruitment process for him and for us, right? How does this apply to you? I get it. You're not a Manning. You don't have the Manning name. Most of you won't have the Manning name. This is a totally different scenario, but I want you to think about the parallels and how they ended up using their name to get to where they wanted to be, to get Arch Manning, to get to Texas. And I want you to use the strategies Arch Manning used in order to get yourself recruited. So think about it like this before we go down this path, right? Notice that Arch didn't need travel tournaments because it's the same way that the iPhone didn't need door-to-door salesmen. It's the same way that Shohei didn't need a highlight reel, right? We can continue down the list. In-N-Out didn't need a 15-page long menu. You can go on and on and on and on. When you don't need something, then that changes the game, that changes the equation. Let's stick to Arch Manning in this specific situation for a second. He didn't crisscross the country to random tournaments just to get quote unquote seen. The scouts came to him, and again, put to the side for a fact that he already had this massive spotlight on him. That's not the point that I'm making. Obviously, he had this massive spotlight on him, but he also brought the goods. When scouts would watch Arch Manning play, it was apparent that he had the arm talent of his family, and he could move, he could run. So he built something to see in addition to his name. So obviously your name is not going to come with a spotlight most of the time. But what you can do that Arch Manning did is he built something worth seeing. And again, put to the side that his parents are the Mannings. I know that that's a big thing you're probably trying to get over. But the point that I'm making here is that you can build something in the darkness, in the shadows, just like Arch Manning did. Here's the reality for most of you. Like I said, you don't have a spotlight. But when you don't have the spotlight, you can be molded by the darkness, like the Bane quote. That's where this idea of exposure gets tricky. I want to talk to you about how families view exposure, the two different sides of exposure, and the one that you're probably missing. A lot of families see exposure as, let's go to these tournaments, let's go to these showcases, more exposure is good. And that's great. More exposure can be good. But so many times, so often, families don't think about the backside. Because the flip side of that coin, the flip side of the exposure coin, is that nobody likes to admit this, but most of the time, a lot of the athletes who go to these showcases and these tournaments and they're playing travel ball year round and they're doing all this regardless of the sport, most of them are average to below average athletes. And they would be much better suited, it'd be a much better idea for them to just stop, go to the weight room, get big, get strong, get fast, work with your skill coach, work with your hitting coach, work with your pitching coach, place your pitches better, be able to catch and be able to feel the ball, right? Because when you can't, then that exposure of these tournaments and these showcases can actually be bad. Every time a scout sees you and you're just average, let's just say you're average, eventually you're just going to fade into the background. Your name is not going to mean anything. You become like white noise. Exposure at that point becomes a liability or a weakness, right? Think about it like music. So before Adele was huge, she performed on a small little show and it went viral and it was obvious at the time. I mean, viral for whatever, 2008, whatever year that was. And it was obvious from the beginning, she's going to be a star. She's a crazy good singer. Like, this person is going to be a star. Now let's flip it and let's use the example of Paris Hilton. I don't want to denigrate Paris Hilton. She's a big businesswoman now. She has taken over her family empire and she's killing it in the business world. But in 2006, her team told her it'd be a good idea to put out an album, a musical album. It was called Stars Are Blind or something like that, right? She had her team telling her, like, you can do it, go for it. This will be great. It's going to work out well. It did not work out well for Paris Hilton. So you're probably not Paris Hilton. That's what I'm going to clarify. But the flip side is you're probably statistically not Adele either. So what's the point that I'm making here? Is that development has to come first before exposure. Otherwise, you're just going to become that white noise to those scouts. Don't release the demo, going back to the musical sort of example, before you've even learned the instrument. Arch Manning had this giant spotlight on him. But most athletes, they start in the dark. The way that you get seen isn't by chasing the lights. It's by becoming so good that the spotlight has no choice but to find you. And so many times I see my younger athletes who will ask my older athletes, so high school kids asking my college guys and my pro guys, what is the one thing you did? What is the one workout? What's the one drill? What's the one thing? And the older guys, the pro guys, the college guys, consistently have the same answer. Maybe it's because they've been to a certain degree influenced by by me because they're working with me. But it's not just one thing. It's a series of really boring, not sexy answers. It's having a routine and sticking to it. It's getting into the weight room, getting strong. It's working with your coach on things that work for you. It's sprinting, high intent sprints, high intent jumps after you get really strong. It's not these endless amounts of showcases and games. And sure, you're going to go to showcases, games, and there are going to be players who are good, who have that spotlight that's following them. And I'll be honest with you, if you're average, I say this with love, and I say this because I see it so many times. If you're at these showcases and you're just average, those scouts aren't there to see you. So to a certain degree, you could view it as wasting your time. Why would you want to waste your time? There's this idea of, it's called opportunity cost. If you haven't heard of what it is, if you have, just bear with me. If you haven't, opportunity cost means when you choose to do one thing, you're automatically going to miss out on doing the other thing. So, for example, the opportunity cost of going to all these showcases and tournaments is the time and the effort and the energy that could be going towards developing. So instead of getting 1% stronger, 1% bigger, 1% faster, you're out playing these games. You're out on the road at these showcases. And the opportunity cost is that you're just not in the weight room. You're not getting better. So viewing these tournaments and these showcases not only as can they be net negative, they could also be putting you further in the hole than you're even thinking. Let's say you go to a showcase and it turns out that you just performed average. Would you have rather just performed average and start to slip into the subconscious white noise mind of these scouts? Or would you have rather just been in the weight room, been working with your skill coach, been working on something that was going to help you improve as an athlete? That's where the opportunity comes. The opportunity cost starts to add up. And over time, over and over and over again, you're missing out on all these shots to really make you a better athlete. So here's the takeaway, especially if you're 16 or younger. Exposure isn't a magical cure. Scouts don't just discover kids by going to random fall ball tournaments or going to random tournaments across the country in Ohio, right? The scouts go where the buzz is. So you have to create that buzz on your own. Your job right now as an athlete who's younger, 16 and younger, I'm talking to you, get as strong as an ox, as strong as you possibly can. Learn how to take care of your body and stay healthy. Build the skills that actually hold up under pressure instead of going to these showcases and tournaments. Right now, you're in the dark. You're like Bane, right? But I want you to use that darkness to your advantage. You don't need the spotlight right now. That's how you become a Manning. You become a Manning by using the darkness to your advantage, building something worth seeing so that by the time the scouts do get to you, or by the time you are ready for these showcase tournaments and these other exposure-based games and tournaments and events, you've built something worth seeing. And when you sign up for those events, the scouts are going to those events because you signed up, not the other way around. That's how you become a Manning. That's how you create your own spotlight. It's because when you have the spotlight, you can call the shots like the Mannings did, like Arch Manning's parents and family did, so that you can reap the benefits and the rewards. Obviously, part of that is going to be getting on arm care. So that's the last thing that I'll leave you with. Get on arm care. Get on arm care now.